Jesus on one occasion repealed the law of Moses in divorce, so he's bringing it to a higher level. And he's our model. You see, if Jesus kept the law of Moses in the letter perfectly, we're all failing. He's no longer the Christian model. And that is the ultimate disaster. Then we've got the important point that Matthew is in 5 blocks. When Jesus finished all these things, Jesus finished all these things 5 times. He's the new Moses. He wasn't giving the new law of Moses as a kid. He's not doing anything at that stage as a 12-year-old. The word that Luke uses when he says that Jesus grew in knowledge. Prokoptin is the idea of beating brass to extend it. You beat it to make it stretch. And the same word is used of Samuel, the young Samuel. Exactly the same word. Samuel grew. It's an interesting idea of being beaten as brass and extended through those sufferings. So all of this suffering has its point, although it's sometimes difficult to see why it has to be so severe. There was a necessary change in the law. Jewish people don't like that in Hebrews. It was enacted, and the Greek there is entored upon better promises. That's the new Torah. So we can say that Jesus kept the Torah, at least after his age of maturity at 12. He was keeping and beginning to develop the new words of the new covenant. He then dies to ratify those words. 5 blocks, you see, of the new Moses. It's beautiful. But we must never, ever say that we don't follow Jesus, because that would separate us from Jesus' teachings. That's the ruin of everything. Don't forget, it took Peter and Paul time to get this right. Peter was wavering. It took them time. So there's no fixed point at which you say, now they're all guilty. It's a process, and that's where Mark 7:19 is important. In parentheses, right, it says, thus they understood him to be cleansing all foods. I don't think they knew that at the time. Probably not. It's a mark and comment. Later they look back, they said, my goodness, I don't know. I mean, those really don't matter today. We now know we're clear. I think James was slower than Paul. Paul was really radical. I mean, these are questions that really don't affect us too much. Oppose the literal Sabbath keepers, because they're keeping the law of Moses in the letter, and that's not the Torah of Messiah. So the question to ask your friends is, what is this whole law which you're not supposed to keep? If you get circumcised, Paul says, then you have to keep the whole law. Don't do it. You are forbidden to keep that law. So people, being human and predictably getting it wrong, they're trying to keep things that you're told not to keep in an effort to obey God, but you're in the wrong covenant, unfortunately. That's killing you, because you're saying Jesus is inadequate then. That's a denial of the new covenant.